One night only. Guenther Steiner is coming November 15th. He's bringing his Unfiltered Live Tour to Chicago. Guenther, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, the tour, the book, your honesty, your viewpoint. I mean, Unfiltered is like the only title I could think of what this tour and what that book could be.
Yeah, no, it is unfiltered, I just tell the story how it is. So I always do that, say things how they are. I don't know any different, and this is part of it.
Team principal at Haas Formula One team, Jaguar Racing, Red Bull, your 40-year career. All of this, I'm sure, is part of the show. I mean, tell me a little bit about how this evening is going to go.
Yeah, the evening is a little bit, as you said, a little bit how I started off in motorsport. Very strange, from where I come from, that I even started in motorsport. And, when I think back, it's a long career, and a lot of people are quite interested how the good old days were. I don't know if they were always good, they were old, but they were different. And explain a little bit about this because there's a lot of new young audience which is now interested in Formula One, but they sometimes are surprised how quick the sport developed, what it was 20 years ago. It was a different sport. So a little bit about that, a little bit about my career, where it went to. Then the Haas story, how I came up with the idea to start a team and how I went about it. And then in the end of the show, the audience can have questions. For 50 minutes we answer questions, and that's always pretty cool as well.
Especially the last 6, 7 years, just how the racing has gotten so big here in the United States. I mean, talk a little bit about that trajectory and you being able to witness to see that movement here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's something amazing because I moved to the US a little bit more than 19 years ago, and I came from Formula One. I came over here to open up the Red Bull NASCAR team. That is the reason why I ended up in the US in North Carolina. And people knew about Formula One in the US. My generation of people, but I wouldn't say that they were interested in. I mean, they remembered it when Mario Andretti was driving and all that stuff, and then. The last 6, 7 years, and it actually started when Liberty Media, a US company, bought Formula One. They are now the promoters. They bought it from Bernie Ecclestone, and they just developed the sport into a modern sport. And what I mean by that, they didn't change the sport, but they changed how do they communicate what the sport is actually giving to people via social media, which wasn't there before. A lot of things happened, and then I would say Drive to Survive came out. A lot of people watched it because it was a very good sport documentary. And then COVID hit, which obviously was not a good thing for the world. But what it did for Formula One, people were sitting at home. Obviously, they watched everything was on TV. There was nothing new anymore because you couldn't do anything. And then Formula One as a sport was very good to come back with live sport already in June of 2020. Then people, oh, I heard about this Formula One from Drive to Survive. They started to watch it because there was something new on TV. I mean, that was the
Yeah.
big thing. They stayed there to watch it, and they're still there to watch it. And the amazing thing is how the demographics changed, because you ask how it was before, how it's now. Before, Formula One was middle-aged men, nothing more. Now it's young people, a lot of young people, which is the demographic he wants, and a lot of females. The percentage went up dramatically. So it just covers all the demographics.
I mean, you made such an interesting point, especially with the rise of social media and people, watching the show on Netflix and getting to see some of these clips on their favorite, social media channels. But there's also those racers that just want to race, and this is what I'm doing, and other people who have become a personality. I mean, talk a little bit about that difference and that shift that you've seen, where somebody becomes a brand versus just kind of doing this as their career.
I would say, the personalities, they were there before. They didn't come out, but nobody saw them.
Yeah.
Before it was communicated with social media, with Drive to Survive, it was always there. Because I was there when they started filming, the people was the same, before. But they were not shown to the public. Because the public had no idea what was going on in Formula One. And now with all the information which is flowing out there, people sometimes actually can feel that they are in it. And as you say, motor racing, there's a lot of motor racing in the world, and there's a lot of good motor racing in the world. But what Formula One gives you is not only the race on Sunday, the 2 hour race or the 1.5 hour race on Sunday. They give you entertainment or information, news between races, because that's Formula One. there is technology, there is a lot of politics, there is a lot of gossip, there is a lot of stuff. And with social media, it's possible to communicate these things which are happening to a wider audience. And that for people, I think they love it because the racing is just part of it. It's still the most important part of Formula One, but there is a lot of other things around it.
And what has that done for the sport, especially as you've seen the fan base evolve from, as you say, middle-aged men to seeing younger fans and more female fans? I mean, what has that done for the community? What have you seen, through your lens as far as what this done for the sport?
I mean, just very good things. I mean, because that's what a sport wants. Any sport wants young people, female, men, everything, that everybody likes it. And it grew the sport. I mean, Formula One teams 10 years ago, they were worth as much as somebody wanted to pay for it, which sometimes was $1, and it
Yeah.
costed a lot of going racing. But what has changed? The teams now got a lot of value. And what happened as well, a lot of big corporate want to sponsor now this sport because it is so interesting, because so many people watch it, and it has such a big audience. So big sponsors come in and made it a very, very good business.
And I love too what you talk about as far as investment goes, not just in the vehicle, but also in the driver as well too. And I think that also translates into other, whether it's your personal life or, in other areas of business, of making those investments and being, knowing that it is, a sound thing, that it's not just one, that they're both pieces of it are.
Yeah, no, no, no. I mean, in racing, you need technology, but the human being is still very important. There is still people out there, as we all know, which have got more talent than others, and they are the best drivers. In the moment, we have got one driver, which, in my opinion, has got a great talent, and he has got a great talent to focus on what he wants to do, which is Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
And he's one of these drivers which come along every 20, 30 years. So, but. There is a lot you need to divide. I mean, you need the technology, you need to invest in that one. But if you've got the best technology, what you want is also the best driver.
As well too. I want to talk a little bit about the feedback, because you're very honest as far as what you think about the certain the drivers, and maybe your relationship with them, or how they're performing. As far as I mean, you tell it like it is, and it's sometimes people need to hear that information, or this your opinion. But what is it like when you actually see they're like, thank you so much for this feedback? Maybe if it's not 100% positive, I mean, do they usually come to you and say like, thank you so much, or I needed to work on this, or just kind of what is it like when you have to see them face to face?
I mean, it is sometimes different. Obviously, when I give feedback, it's my own opinion,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty happy to agree to disagree with people, but let's discuss it. If you can have different opinions, that doesn't mean that some people is bad and some people is good.
Yeah.
But in the end, somebody has to make decisions, and take responsibility. Because if you never come to because sometimes you cannot come to a consensus because you see it differently. So what you're doing, not moving forward. No, somebody needs to decide which way to go,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's the right way.
And especially, when you think about like maybe like marathon racing, it's 26.2 miles. It's, 3 hours long. There's points where you can decide. But with this, it's so fast that, you need to make that split decision of knowing, is this going the right way? Is it not going the right way? Those moments of like, what's happening?
Yeah, but that comes making these decisions during a race. If you've got experience, you can use the experience. I mean, it is very difficult for people to make this decision if you have never done it before. Because what is learning? Learning is getting things wrong and next time getting them right.
Yeah.
That is part of learning. So when you are getting older like me, you have done a lot of wrong things and you learned a lot. So next time the decision normally should be a better one, even you still get them wrong. But sometimes it's just like the gut feeling is like, we need to do this because I have seen this scenario before. Let's do it, and they make a decision. Because I always say the worst decision is no decision.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. November 15th, Cadillac Palace Theater, Broadway, and Chicago.com for those tickets. And we'll see you in our city very, very soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to go to Chicago.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.